Here's what happens when you keep letting the people down. The people stop believing your numbers add up. That's our top story tonight, my friends. The president's damning statistics that just seem more and more like damn lies. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto. Well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 100 times, shame on, well, all of us. Because that's where we stand with this White House right now. We just have a hard time believing anything that comes out of this White House right now. Now, it's not a political thing or personal thing. It is a been through this repeatedly kind of thing. So many times burned, we've just concluded that any number coming out of Pennsylvania Avenue is a bust. Can you really blame us? The administration touts 7.1 million new health care enrollees, and with just a little bit of scratching, we find out that more than half aren't new enrollees at all, and not many have even paid. The administration then proudly points to 2 million illegals being deported. Then we come to discover that many were simply rounded up at the border, and others caught and recaught and caught again a dozen or more times, and they're counted into that figure. It doesn't figure that figure. Lots of figures. The million of solar and wind, new energy jobs that turned out to be more like hundreds, more like all the time. Every month, every stat, same story. People ain't buying it. Actually, they're getting sick of it, which is why TV networks have stopped jumping at every Obama request to offer their prime time for yet another speech. They've heard the speech before. Same speech, same story, same line. Not this time. Not tuning in, many more now just tuning out. This is what happens when you tell folks that they can keep their doctor, and it turns out they can't. They can't get around to believing much else you say. They believe everything you say, and then they stop believing everything you say. They used to buy every statistic you gave them, then they stop buying every statistic you give them. Because with very little digging, they come to discover maybe you're lying. And what's really sad now, with very little digging, they don't really seem much to care. They just think you're lying. I'm talking about a crisis of confidence here. It's not that we're just that cynical. We, as a nation of doubters, have now taken it to become a nation of non-believers. That's not good. And Cato President, former BB&T Chairman John Allison says it's not America either, and it shouldn't be us. Ditto Americans or tax reforms. Maddie Duppler. Maddie, that's where we stand now. Where people right out of the get-go are saying, I just don't buy it. I talked to a lot of young people you would normally assume be in the president's base who say, you know, I don't know. Been there, done that, heard that, not this.
Well, and you know, Neil, I think that's the important point to make, because when you look at conservatives who are generally skeptical of what government can do, this is a sentiment that makes sense coming from someone like you or me. But you're right. The progressive base right now is starting to doubt what the president is saying, and that could be damning in the long term for the Democrat Party, because these guys they require a base that believes they can deliver on promises of bigger government, more services delivered through centrally planned programs, and it seems that the president is intent on making sure that that can actually come true.
It's very hard to win trust back, and I remember, maybe because I'm old enough to, John, with Richard Nixon when the Watergate scandal was deepening, even his most diehard supporters were suspecting, once one lie was revealed and another lie and all this, that every follow-up speech, no matter how he tried to win the public support back, they stopped believing him, period. And he never did get it back.
I don't think you can win trust back when you have a series of what's obvious misinformation that has an agenda attached to it. And ironically, while I almost never agree with President Obama's policies, I think that degrading of the presidential leadership is not a good thing for the future of America.
All right, well, let's say he has lost that trust and it's hard to retrieve. Then, Maddie, play out the next couple of years here, because that's going to be tough. I mean, he is still the president, and for whatever reason, Americans, by and large, have given up trusting what he says.
Well, it's been a slow slog for, I think, the media and his base to kind of catch on that this is what the president is doing. Remember, 16 days into the president's first term, that's all it took for him to break his firm pledge that he made again and again on the campaign trail that he would never raise taxes on anyone making less than $250,000. He signed S-chip into law, which was over 100% tax increase on tobacco. That, of course, hitting a lot of people who are making less than $250K, and that was his premier campaign promise. So this is not something new. This is not some kind of aberration in the second term. This is what we've seen from this president over the past couple of years. So his MO is not going to change over the next couple of years. The thing to watch is what happens with the Senate in 2014. This is a very important election, and if Republicans are able to take back that chamber, they'll then be at the helm of policy for the next 2 years, and the president is actually going to have to stand up and stand by his policies because he won't be able to pass them through the House or through the Senate.
But I also think, John, it's incumbent upon Republicans not to just be the opposing party, but to actually stand by their own principles. And I tell you, they don't inspire a whole hell of a lot of confidence, at least on my part, because when it's come time to address spending and really focus on the stuff they say is important, they don't do it. So there's equal pressure on them, is there not?
I agree, Neil, and it's really kind of a tragedy. The Republicans aren't willing to stand on principle, and for issues that they have used in their own election goals, and I think that's a bad thing for America, too. There's a lack of political leadership in this country, and that's not healthy for our long-term well-being. I would say, too, Neil, going back to President Obama, this is a serious issue internationally. The United States has been the global leader, and part of that is confidence in that what we say is true from our leaders, and we've lost confidence on an international perspective because we've been doing the same thing. We've been drawing red lines, and we really didn't mean it. And people knew that we didn't mean it, and that's not good from a world perspective.
Yeah, I agree. Trust is everything. You break it, and it's hard to win it back. Guys, thank you both. Very, very